There are four important words: manage, profitable, relationship, and customers. Because in marketing, we have, of course, some marketing objectives, and that would be the first one, to acquire new customers with the promise of a better value. So we must have something what our customers don't have. And again, we have to manage this relationship with our new customers. But are there just new customers? What do you think? So let's start with being a little bit more interactive. Let's see if you are listening to me. So the question is, are we just interested in new customers? No? Okay. Every customer, not just new, also the current. Yes, of course. You are right. Maintain and strengthen relationship with existing customers is even more important. Why? Because the clients that we already have are less expensive. What does that mean? If we want to get a new client or a new customer, we have to do something. If we already have one, we just have to be nice. Okay, that can be costly as well. So in any case, we have to manage these customers, these relationships with customers. In fact, it is the same as in your private life. If you want to have a long-term relationship with your wife or husband, you have to invest a little time, a little effort into that. Of course, it is very easy to get new customers, easy if we offer them a lot of different benefits and so on. But the quality of marketing relationship is that we have our customers for a longer time. This is why we are talking about relationship. And of course, we want our relationship with customers to be profitable, so that not just they are satisfied, but we have to be satisfied as well. And this is completely the same as it was before internet and digital and everything else arose. So marketing is a process. So it is something that it is going on for some time. For instance, Walmart has become the world's largest retailer in physical world, of course, and it has been for some time the world's largest company, and that happened by delivering on its promise: save money, live better. Or for instance, Disney theme parks, they make a dream come true today. So if we want our company to be successful, we have to create some value for customers and build this strong relationship. So we must have something that they don't, and they are prepared to get that, to buy. That means to give us some money for what they are doing. Do you have, since you are coming from different countries, can you put down some very good local companies that are really very good in marketing, and maybe what is their promise, or if you want, a slogan? Skopsko beer. What is their promise? By the way, Skopsko is really good. I enjoyed it a lot. And everything is possible. Yeah, especially after the second, the third, or even the 15th class. Any other brand? All beers in Bosnia? Are you sure? Of course. If you promise refreshment in hot summer and your beer is really cold, then yeah. Okay. Beside beer, anything else? Theater, why not? Shoot us, dairy products, providing happiness besides fresh, delicious dairy. Okay. And do they fulfill their promise? Are they really Gülner? Are they really that fresh, that delicious? And Philip Iliev wrote better than HD, better than 3D. So which brand would that be? Yeah, this is very important, that you feel that you are happy while buying and using it. Ryanair, low fares, and a lot of cancelled flights. So it is not always simple, but yes, this is their slogan. Maida, is anything always fully what's advertised? Do you mean that everything is true? No, it is not, unfortunately. And Gülner, yes, if we would be now in contact, you could sing this jingle. Unfortunately, we are not able to do that. But yes, you know, and you feel, and you have already had some experience with your local brands, with your local or international, of course, companies. Sorry. So, Vitalia, healthy food for healthy life. Yes. Marketing process. So that it is not too boring, I'm showing you, in fact, a very simple model, how to create value for customers and how to build customer relationships. First, of course, we have to know the market and we have to know our customer. And if we know what our customer is seeking for, then we can design a good marketing strategy that will fulfill his needs by constructing some kind of integrated marketing program with, as it is written here, superior value. Why must the value be superior? Because unless we are fighting with price, we must give our customer something that he can't get anywhere else. Again, it is the same as in our private life. We need something superior. If we are not satisfied, we will leave. And it is the same with marketing process. If we are not satisfied with, let's say, Vitalia or with Ryanair or with Schutas or beer, we will change and we will drink, eat, or whatever, something else. And again, once again, we have to build profitable relationships and create this customer delight. If they are happy, they will stay with us. So we have to create value for customers and then capture this value from customer in return. What does that mean? That the customer is the most important thing, the most important element in marketing. So we have to know what are their needs, what are their wants, what are their demands, and we have to try to offer them not just they want, but maybe even something more. Because in the time of hyper production, in time of hyper commodization, in this very, very strong and sometimes even evil competition, we have to be better than anybody else to give the value and to give the satisfaction that the customer would expect. And of course, we have to know, especially if we are going to export, we have to know what are the markets, how big they are, how they act, and maybe what are the importance on those markets. Are there any differences between so-called digital or online and analog or offline business? In fact, hardly. We have to know the client offline and online. We have to know what competition is doing offline and online. We have to give value and we have to give satisfaction to our customers. And, of course, relationship can be offline and can be online. Of course, if we are joining these two ways, then it is even better. So we have tied our customer this way or another, and of course, if we have him on both levels, then he is even more ours than it would be. So needs, wants, and demands. What is what we are expecting from, or what our customer is expecting from us? The needs, of course, can be physical, can be social, can be individual, and wants, in fact, are shaped by culture and individual personality. Wants are something that is created after the need, and of course, demand is backed by buying power. Demand is happening when we really are aware or are willing to pay for the product or for the service. In fact, there are two sides of customer value and satisfaction expectation. Customers have one angle, and marketers, of course, have the other angle of looking to this problem. The best thing is if whenever we are doing something in business, that we try to put ourselves in the shoe of our business partner, or if you want, of our customer. Let's say Zappos. I believe that mostly you know what Zappos is. This is one of the biggest online retailers, and they are specialized in shoes. Do you know any other online retailer? Maybe one from China. Has anybody ever bought anything from Alibaba or Amazon or eBay? Yes, you have. And were you satisfied with the service? Yes, you were satisfied. Why were you satisfied? Why? What did they do so special? They delivered what they have promised. They saved your time. Yes. Anything else? You saved money. Well, if you go to the shop and you want a product, in fact, you don't expect that you won't get what you ordered or what you bought. But yes, in fact, Goraz is right. Sometimes we are just happy that we received what we ordered. Oh, okay. I'm reading what you have written, and you paid no customs. Okay. Yeah. About cheap. Is this the only reason why we buy things, that they are cheap, or do we want quality? Not the only reason, but yes, with online retailers, they were able to make products more available, in fact, and yes, because they are buying big numbers, their products can usually be cheaper. And if we know the retailer, like Alibaba or like Amazon or eBay, we are quite sure that their service will be, or the product that we order will really be what we have ordered. The biggest risk is if we are buying from somebody that nobody knows. But of course, since we are in digital era, then we can have all the referrals and everything else. Okay. Marketing process, in fact, is a kind of exchange. What is exchange? Exchange is a big market which is active all the time, and exchange, in fact, is the act of obtaining a desired object from someone by offering something in return. In the old times, if you had salt, you could get just anything that you wanted. Now, if you have a lot of money, you can also get almost everything what you wanted. And as Marina wrote, Airbnb and Booking are the same, in fact, the same platforms that can offer you something in return. And of course, you always know what can you expect, because there is a big number of previous customers that wrote how they were satisfied. And this is, in fact, the biggest difference in marketing, if we are talking about marketing offline and marketing online, of course, in communication. Sorry. Any business is not standing alone, and we are always in a kind of environment that we have to bear and we have to live with. So if we are a company, we always have some kind of suppliers, and of course we have some kind of competitors. And sometimes we sell directly to our customers, to our consumers. More often we have some kind of marketing intermediaries. If we have them, then we don't have direct contact with our customers, and we don't get all the information that we might get. But besides suppliers and consumers and intermediaries and so on, of course, there are a lot of different environmental forces, from natural to technical to legal and so on. So we always live in a kind of messy environment where our customer, our buyer, is the most important element, as we have already said. I'm not going to talk about marketing mix elements, because you know that they have to be on the same or at least on similar level, so that we can be successful on a long-term basis. Again, it is a process that will take quite some time to establish. So in one moment, we must have the right product or the right service that we are selling on the right price, on the right place, with right communication. And our processes must be also on the level that will first make our customer happy, and would not be too costly for us. And people are important. People who are buying from us, but especially people who are running these processes. And since we are talking about services, of course, a kind of physical evidence is also very important. Sorry for that. But we have to focus on the communication part. So one of the elements in marketing, and that it would not be too boring again. This communication is a lot of different things. So the ways how to communicate with our customers are really a lot, from advertising to sales promotion and personal selling, to all the different more or less digital or offline or direct or a database marketing, or even sponsoring, or all the possible social media activities and alternative marketing and PR. And we could talk about events, and there is a never-ending story about that. So, if we are talking about successful, that means that as we have already started at the very beginning, we have to manage and try to control this communication. But in these times, is this possible to do? To be on complete control on how our brand or our product or our company is communicated? What do you think? No. Why? You're right, yes? Just women are writing. Aha, social media? What do you mean by that? Social media are impossible to control. Our product can be communicated by lots of other people, probably. Yes. Okay, I will wait for 2 more students to write something. Crisis management, this is important. Yes, I think you have already had the PR lectures. And if something goes viral, it goes beyond control. Yes, but then do we just wait and hope that people would forget, or do we do anything else? we do something. Yes, thank you, Gorast. We update information. Yeah, yeah. So, as some of your colleagues have already written, it is quite difficult to take control. But of course, even if users are making what they are doing, you know, the user-generated content, we have to be as active as possible, so that, as Fanny wrote, build positive reputation, or try to build positive reputation. In fact, sometimes it is very visible that who is writing some comments, or who is trying to damage ourselves. Sometimes even competition is doing that. But then, if we are too pushy, we as a company, of course, our customers would get that very, very easily. And here is one very, very important word that Marina B wrote, and this is honesty. Even if we make a mistake, and in digital era, a lot of mistakes are happening all the time, we have to be very, very honest. Sometimes it is very painful, like at home, or with our children, or if we are a student and we have to tell our professor we didn't have time, or we didn't do our job, or whatever, or to our boss. But if we are honest, people would not be as angry with us as if they would be if we were not honest. And your this week's tasks assignment would be just talking about that. So, communication. We saw all the different ways, and I didn't put them down, all of them. But we can see that communication is quite complicated, as we will also see on our next slide. But do you think that there is something missing on this slide? Especially when we are talking about different forms. We can be personal or non-personal communicator. We can be close or on a distance, like we are, unfortunately. We can communicate massively or individually. Is there anything else that might be missing? What do you think? And I know it is quite late, but what is the title of our one-time communication or constant communication? Yeah, well, yeah. In fact, that could be also one of different forms. Yes. Yes, there is a slide. A feedback would be with customer opinion. Yeah. Feedback. Interactive, yes. And with or without permission. This is also something that, especially in some countries, is more and more important. Okay, maybe if Alexander is listening to us, he can tell us what is wrong with the presentation, so that some of you cannot see it. How are there many people who don't? Okay. Okay, so we have a lot of people who see it. Alexander has just wrote everyone that cannot see the presentation, just restart your Skype. Okay, and I will just slowly go further. And this is recorded so that you can watch me later if you have some problems. Okay, so this marketing communication, which is, as we said, complicated, and it is a little bit different than communication at home, is in fact planned. It is ordered and paid, and usually mass communication. And with it, company wants to inform or want to persuade or remind consumers more or less directly about the products, the services, and the brands that they are selling. So we have 4 elements that we have to get. So a client or an advertiser who wants to tell his story. Then there is an author, a person who has written the story, and then it is a speaker. This speaker can be a human being. For instance, Turkish Airlines, they are using a lot of very famous artists, famous actors. Milka, for instance, the chocolate, they are using helmets of famous European skiers. And of course, there is a medium through which we are telling our story, or if you want, selling our story. But nevertheless, users that are not controlled by us sometimes take a role, as we have already discussed. In fact, users are taking our role more and more often. And here is again what we were talking about before. We have to be quick, so fast, and we have to be as honest as possible. You know also in your private life how difficult is sometimes to communicate, that would everybody understand what we wanted to say. For instance, if you have children, you know that it is very difficult to persuade them to go to bed or in the morning to get up, because there is a lot of noise, a lot of encoding and decoding going on, and a lot of mess, and the receiver, so our child, don't want to hear what we are trying to tell. And in fact, we as an advertiser or as a communicator want to persuade or to tell our client, our buyer, that would be receiver, that our product or our service is really very good. And like in our case, there is some noise going on also with this presentation, so some people can't see it because there is a kind of problem. But nevertheless, in this process, we have a kind of response or a kind of feedback that we can get. But this feedback or response can also be stopped by some noise or some bad communication. And in fact, it is also the same at home. Is if you are married for some time, sometimes you stop communicating. And then after a week, a month, or 10 years, for instance, there is a problem, because you don't know what is happening. You don't know what your wife or your husband is thinking, and maybe he has already left you, or she, but you didn't realize that. And the same can be with our clients or with our buyers. So we have to be very careful about that. But of course, it is we have to be careful because now, especially in times of interactivity. Oh, thank you. So you will also be careful at home. Yes, I'm a little bit older, so I can give this kind of advice as well. Okay, back to reality. There was a time during the Second World War, and it was called Blitzkrieg. That means a surprise, very quick, very fast entrance to other countries. So we can be successful if we are very quick, if we are the first on the market. But if we have been attacked, there is also a way how to be successful. We have to answer as quick as possible, as fast as possible, so that our competitors are not taking too big chunk of our market. And the speed of our reaction, of course, depends on the organization. And we speak about real-time marketing. That means that we are answering immediately now while something is happening. That would be in a few minutes, versus a classical media approach, when we need some days or some months or some years that we would answer to a problem. And this is not just in communicating. This is in business, in reality, because competition does not sleep, and there is a lot of things going on all the time, and even an individual can gain enormous power in a moment, and that would also be one of the cases that you will be doing. And when we are talking about social media, it is very, very important that we know that this is just a tool. And this tool is managed by people, not by companies, by people. And this tool is made for people. So in any case, it is not the company who is communicating, it is the people. But the larger the system is, the bigger the company is, the harder is to implement it. Why? Because if you are communicating on social level, then you are mostly communicating as a person, as somebody with a picture and with a name and a surname. And this is something, or sometimes very, very difficult. You have to react. You have to give your head to a plate, so that everybody can talk to you. And this can be quite a responsibility. But of course, it is not just the organization. The organization is important, and in your book that I recommend that you try to read, Real-Time Marketing, you can see different levels or different cultures of organization. Sorry. For instance, in a classical company, you would wait so that everything would be certain, or you would have a lot of checklists that are dictated by a year or 5-year business plan, or you would measure results quarterly and so on. But in a modern real marketing company, your people would be empowered so that they can really act, and you would not wait for all the bosses to say yes. You would do what is necessary to be done, because people would be encouraged to make wise decisions quickly, and even alone if necessary, because again, you don't have time to wait. Marketing research is important, but sometimes it is just a short evaluation of alternatives and choosing the right course, that it is better than to wait that we get the right results, because the results won't tell us what to do. They will just help us to make a smaller mistake. But sometimes it is better just to go to the street and ask 5 or 10 people what they think, and not just wait to get 5,000 responses from market research. So, but once again, market research is important. You have heard about beta products. These are products that are not completely finished because we don't have time to finish them completely, which especially in highly industrialized companies is almost a deadly sin. You would not give a product that is not complete or completely produced or completely developed. But what are especially applications or computer programs? They are constantly evolving and constantly finalized, because if we wanted to make, let's say, a computer program perfect, then we would maybe still wait for a Windows 1 or Windows 2.0. But now we know that it is Windows 10, and it is still every week or every 2 weeks you get some kind of modernization and so on and so on. But when we are talking about communication, it is helping media with giving them input when they need it, not when we want to give it. And if we want to be a real-time marketer, of course, there are a lot of professions, and there are a lot of jobs that you even can't study for. And especially in times when I was studying, there were no head of futures or chief happiness officers. I know personally at least one chief happiness officer. He is working for an agency, and he is making his clients happy, and he is making his co-workers happy. So he has double job to do. And there are head of omnichannel or app store optimization specialist or search manager or head of media attribution and so on and so on, to a 3D printing specialist. You can find a complete list of professions in a magazine called The Drum, and you would see that there are at least 20 or even more professions that will have to be hired in a close future.